Hi, this is Mike Hendrickson from Strata Hadoop World in San Jose. I'm here with William Mershon. William, how you doing?
Good, good, thank you.
So you're with data science.
Yes.
You're not talking about, your data science is a company.
That's
Can you
right.
explain a little bit about what you guys do?
Absolutely. So the company is called Data Science, so we have datascience.com is the homepage. And we have a platform for data scientists, so it gives them the tools that they prefer to use with infrastructure and a workflow around it. So it's basically a new way for data scientists to do the work that they need to do.
You have a platform, so there's a lot to a platform. What actually do you provide your partners as part of your platform?
Yeah. So we provide a full set of the open source tools that teams like to use. So things like R and Python and Scala are all available there. We help manage things like dependencies and version control. What teams can do is they can go in there, collaborate with other data scientists, collaborate with business teams, engineering, develop their code, develop a model, and then push that model into production. So we provide that full end-to-end workflow around that. We provide the tools that they need, and then we back that up with infrastructure.
End-to-end, so do you provide end-to-end all the way down from like IoT devices in the world, all the way up to visualizing and analytics at the viewing level?
Yeah. So IoT is a frequent use case because there's a lot of data and it's sometimes challenging to work with. So Sonos, who's a customer, they use the platform to process all of their IoT data, connect it into their email and customer service systems. So that's one flow that we typically see. And then the end product for some data science teams is I need to produce an output that looks something like a dashboard, so they can build those as our Shiny apps or integrate it with Tableau. And then their model is feeding those systems instead of maybe going into another machine. It's actually surfaced in a report.
So as a platform, are you plug and play? I, as a business person, could choose which pieces of your platform I want to assemble?
Yeah, it's very configurable. So as we've been talking to larger enterprise companies, we're finding that nobody's just on a single system today, meaning that even if they're using a cloud provider, that's where some data is, but there's often dozens of other systems they might need to work with. Even if there's one team that prefers a certain tool or coding language, there's other teams that prefer other things. So one of our big points in the platform is just to make it flexible. So we want it to be an easy integration. We don't want people to have to swap out the tools that they're comfortable with using. We want them to use the tools and the infrastructure that they're comfortable with. But what we want to put around that is security. We want to put a collaboration, workflow, notifications all around that so that there's better exposure into the data science work that's happening.
And you cover both on-prem, cloud, and hybrid?
That's
not
right.
Both, that's all three?
That's right. Yeah, as we brought out the solution to market, we found that the bulk of customers for their data science work are actually on-prem. And someone that's been in big data for a long time, it's a little bit like, well, you should be on the cloud. But I think the nature of data science work is it's always touching the most sensitive data at the organization. So it's PII data, it's CRM data, it's internal device data.
Regulated data.
Highly regulated data in some industries.
Yeah.
And that needs to stay under lock and key. So what we did is we built a single instance infrastructure, and it can be deployed on-prem for customers so their IT teams can manage security and all of those things that they need to do on their side.
So what do you think the biggest value that a platform like this would offer someone who's trying to grapple with getting their data under control and making good business decisions with it?
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest barrier for making that happen?
Yeah. There's a lot of barriers. I'd say the biggest one that we're seeing at larger organizations where they have hundreds of data scientists is really about getting exposure for the team's work in a way that it can be repeated and it can be sort of elevated within the organization. I think the big change that we've seen is that data science teams have shifted from being a back office function to being front office. So they're in the CMO's organization, they're in the sales organization, finance, engineering, product. There are data scientists everywhere within these teams. And now the kind of next step for them is, how do I work with all of these other constituents and other divisions? How do I show my business stakeholders that my work is delivering value? And then for them, how do I make it secure? How do I make it repeatable? And how does it scale? So those are the things that we solve for.
So I like the repeatable part. So the repeatable, is that like building a pipeline, or so your platform helps people build their pipeline better, or build it more repeatable?
Yeah, so what we found is a lot of teams, what happens is they get all the way to the point where they've selected a model, they know what they want to do, and then there's this handoff that happens with engineering, and that's a major breaking point for a lot of data science teams. So what that usually translates into is the data scientist hands over a model written a certain way, and then the engineering team completely rewrites it in a language that they're comfortable with, and then you're looking back on it, and you're sort of 6 months down the line, and you have to start all over again. So what we did is we closed that gap, so models can be deployed behind an API. So it's almost like an internal marketplace of models gets generated. So the engineering teams can use those APIs, they can know that they're up and running, they can test them, and we help with some of that translation from things like Python and R into languages like Java that engineers are more comfortable with.
Are there any industries that you see better adapting to the new data world? And are there any industries that are lagging that you see?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd say the sort of companies that we're seeing at the forefront are people that are native digital, obviously, so people that might be gaming companies, mobile app gaming companies, people that are coming more from like a telecommunications and communications background where they're comfortable working with these large data streams, financial services, insurance is another one. I'd say areas that we're seeing sort of slower development, media companies would be an example of that, where they're sort of dipping their toes in it, but haven't quite built out the teams yet to support what they need. Retail would be another example where, historically a lot of retailers have outsourced the function or relied on a third party to do it for them. They're slowly starting to bring it in-house because they're having to compete with people like Amazon that are very focused on this, right? Yeah.
So William, if you and I sat down 12 months from now and we have the same conversation next year, what would you like to say changes for data science and for you guys? Data science, not just. And what would you like to say has changed in the data science world?
Yeah. So as a company, a big part of what we're focused on is not just the platform, but also building a community. So we're releasing an open source project here at the event, and we're building out some new community features on our website to really encourage data scientists to share the work that they're doing, collaborate with other partners. So hopefully in a year from now, you'll see that community take foothold, and we've been partnering with O'Reilly on that as well. So I think from our perspective, we'd like to see the community build out, and we want to support that and get behind that. For the company itself and the product, I think a lot of what we're seeing from customers is that the walls are sort of breaking down between these different divisions and organizations. So I think a real success for us would be much broader adoption of the platform within these organizations and elevating the work that data scientists are doing so that they have a seat at the table with the CEO and CMO instead of sort of being an afterthought when stuff doesn't work out the way it should.
Excellent. William, we look forward to that conversation.
Thank you very much.